All right, it is 7 o'clock. It is Monday, June 1st, and I will call the Nottingham Select Board meeting to order, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, well, good evening, Nottingham. I just want to take a minute to thank everybody that took the time to show up last Wednesday and to voice their concern for the proposed data center out on Route 4 at the old spring plant, and the fact that it was well attended, but also it was very cordial, and it was just well to see everybody there, and hopefully we'll see what transpires in the future. We'll do the best that we can here in town to protect people, but obviously there's state legislature to deal with. We'll talk about that at a later time, but it was just really good to see the support, the drive. I saw it was on Facebook pages that I never thought would even be afflicted by it, and it started going wide, and then it was NBC Boston 10, and it definitely kickstarted an area talk. So anyway, let's start. Who wants to approve some manifests?
I do. I move to approve the accounts payable manifest of May 26, 2026, and the payroll of 5/26/2026.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Looking for a motion on minutes.
I'll move. I have nothing to say about the minutes. I'll move to approve the public minutes of May 18th, 2026.
You want to do them both? Oh, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to accept the non-public minutes of May 18th, 2026.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move on to Board of Selectmen reports, from assigned boards, committees, and departments. Mr. Ryan,
All right, just a second here.
anything happen with the planning board lately?
Yeah, we'll get to that. Let me do the highway first, and we'll discuss the planning board. So all trucks are in service except for the 2014 Mack. They're up to 6,000 repairs so far. Coolant lines need replaced, a long list. It goes on and on. I guess we need to discuss whether or not we want to put the money into that or let it go. And
What did you say?
we have all trucks in service except for one, but that's been out of service for a while now. We're just figuring out what we want to do with it.
That's highway, okay.
They're still working on trimming trees on Priest Road. And they're grading roads in that area as well. As for the planning board, Wednesday was awesome. It was a heck of a turnout there. We have a lot to do as far as data centers are concerned. We have nothing on the books to help even manage. If we were to have one in town, we don't know how to. The planning board has nothing in place to go about it, to regulate them, manage them. So we need to get something down soon.
Are you referring to a data center?
Yes, yeah, we have nothing on our books in regards to data centers. So we need to work on that. And besides that, that's about it.
All right,
Yeah,
John.
I went Thursday down to the recycling center and had a nice conversation. Just done there for quite a while. Met some of the highway guys that were dropping off some equipment, which was nice. Who I haven't met before. One of the oil tanks that we store the recycled oil is leaking, so no, that will be not a huge expense, but it's
Now
something
been
that.
emptied.
Well, it has been. Did he empty it? I know he's
Yeah,
mentioned it.
Alan emptied it today because it had leaked a little bit more, so he got
Right.
rid of the issue, so.
So we had all this stuff on the floor where he said this was clean last night and was showing me that. So I know that was a little issue, but everything else seemed to be okay. It's nice to see everybody wearing their shirts and everything like that. And the place actually looked very nice for the recycling center. A lot of decorations I saw around there, and I was like, I don't know where they all came from, but whatever.
Repurposed.
Yes, repurposed stuff. The little pig by the door was something too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still there, if somebody else took it. If it's not nailed down, I think it's free game. So however that worked out, but You know, everybody seemed to be decent and good spirits and everything was going and there seems to be a lot more traffic than I expect, 'cause I don't get there on Thursdays very often because I'm usually working. And I didn't realize how many people were there at like 2:30 on Thursday. It was a lot busier than I expected, so.
The evening hours on Thursday are utilized quite a bit. So I think people are trying to free up their weekends now that the summer comes around. So they get out of work and they try to utilize it.
So, but there's always little issues everywhere that need to be addressed, you know, with the dumpster space. You know, so it's something we'll probably have to look more into as we go forward. Something we should probably go even over too is maybe some of our fees due to the structures. We haven't looked at those in a little bit, so we might wanna see. Because there are people that are using it and going around the loophole of, you know, whether you're dumping a full truck or half a truck or what you're dumping of debris materials and, you know, there's just some things that need to be probably addressed by us. Which we can probably make a list up in one of these next coming meetings. I'll have something to say like, hey, and maybe we'll just go over the fees, you know, everything is getting more expensive and it's sorry to the town to burden them, but you know, it's, if things get more expensive, everything all around gets more expensive. And that means if our fees have to go up a little on everything around there, it's just the cost of doing business. So just for something for us in the near future, we should probably just, when we have a moment.
Yep.
To just quickly go over and review and see if there's something we see that stands out that might be,
It's been 4 years, I think, since we last updated them.
so it's due. So that was something we talked about, saw a guy who was dumping off mattresses and I was like, oh, look at all those mattresses. You know, and it doesn't seem like people mind paying it, so.
Right.
So we can't be charging too much if
Right,
everybody.
you wanna be just enough that they pay it and bring it and not throw it on a road somewhere.
Right, there's always a happy
A
little
sweet
medium.
spot.
You know, but you know, you never even, you know, that was always something that came up when people actually mentioned that too in the past, but oh, you know, if you have this there, drive around. People are gonna do it anyways.
Yeah.
You know, as much as we try to defer and try not to have it, if you're that type of person that you feel like you'd rather trash your town instead of paying $20 to get rid of your stuff, you're a scumbag anyways. Right? I mean, you just don't have any moral standings if you're gonna pollute somebody's land or whatever like this because you don't wanna pay the $20. If you can't afford it, you can go and at least have a conversation and, you know, we can look around it. You
Yeah.
know, but, so, never a fan of that argument of,
Go ahead.
people not being able to, cause that should be drawn right back to those people that do it. For that reason, you know, cause we've always been, as a community, helpful when people need help with doing something, and that's, you know, no exception there either. So that's just my take on it, but. And that's pretty much all I had for Thursday.
That's good.
Oh, and the Lake Association is gonna be having their meeting, coming up, you see the signs out,
Yes.
it's coming up this June,
June 14th
so.
at 2:00.
And it's gonna be on a Sunday, which is a different time than normal,
And
because
you're
usually
all
it's a
invited.
Saturday. And it's gonna be later in the afternoon, so it's something if people want to attend to what's going on and learning a little more about the lake, Steve.
No, what we're gonna do is actually gonna be Kristen Lamb is gonna talk about some of the wildlife on the lake.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's at the pavilion, at the state park.
And if you're a town resident or a lake resident, whatever you wanna go through, you just mention that you're going to the meeting and there's free access into the state park for that at the pavilion to where we have the meeting at. And all donations are welcome at that meeting too, if you wanna come in to contribute any money to the Lake Association, it's greatly appreciated.
All of the above.
I just wanna go back quickly and when we talked about the fact that for the data center and the planning board meeting, I wanna put a shout out to the school board, the principal, the superintendent for very rapidly allowing us to change locations from here in allowing us to make the appropriate moves in time. So again, Jeff Holrich and I forget the names of the superintendents, they are swapping from one to another, and the school board. We threw a big thing on them by moving the entire thing there, and I wanna put a shout out to the Nottingham Police Department for staffing it and keeping everything cordial. The Nottingham Fire Department, we had an ambulance and the chief was there. Everybody, it was well attended. Again, I meant to say that at the beginning, but I've had a week and so anyway. For the rec department, not gonna say Ellen has some of this stuff, but I did see that they are starting work over on Marston for disc golf, and they're gonna be looking for some volunteers. In the next couple of weeks, there'll be some more announcements as they set off the tee pads and hole construction. So right now they're doing kind of branch and some limb thinning. They are gonna kind of ask for just people to be cautious that are in the area for the construction. If you're looking to volunteer, they'll be on the Nottingham Parks and Rec Facebook page and also by calling the office. Again, a little bit too busy to catch up with them other than that, but I think they have a big summer ahead of them, and they got a lot of good things coming, so.
Great. I'm the liaison to the fire department from the select board, and their usual monthly meeting of all fire department personnel will not be taking place in June. They'll be attending the police department building committee meeting to review the RFPs instead. Both police and fire have been busy with accidents. Activity's been picking up at the state park. John Decker, who's our select board police department liaison, requested that I give police department info in his absence. We received May's calls for service. Highlights, which might interest you, is there was one drone deployment. I just like to let you have some fun with this. There was one indecent exposure at the lake. 34 medical calls, 38 motor vehicle stops, 6 reckless operations, 4 restraining orders served, 3 sex offender registrations, and 9 well-being checks, along with many, many other calls for service, but those are the highlights. Did you get those, Steve?
No.
Then I'll send them on to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no
That's
problem.
I think that the public really likes to know.
Yeah.
We are very active and
It's been very
caring
busy.
police department,
Yes,
and
yeah.
that shows it very nicely.
They're not sitting around, this is true. May's Coffee with a Cop that was held here in the community kitchen was a big success, and they'll host another one in 2 months. It's open to the public. There's a reminder that National Night Out will be held on Tuesday, August 4th, on the grounds of the town offices, outside if the weather is good. They offer free food, fun for all ages, and it's a chance to bring community and our police department together. And as you can gather from the name, National Night Out, it happens all over the country for community-minded police departments.
Will the fire be attending also?
Oh, that's a good question. I would assume so.
They were last time.
I would
Yeah,
assume so.
at the little
yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah, went to cooking hamburgers and stuff too, or was that the other time?
Oh, God.
That was us.
Us.
That was us.
Took me
cooking.
3 weeks to get the smell of hamburger off me. But it was a lot of fun. It was a really good time. I'm on the Town Facilities Committee. We'll be meeting again tomorrow here, just across the hall at 5:30. We could use a new member or two. If anyone in the public is interested, you could send a letter of interest to Ellen White, our town administrator. We'll be meeting with the library staff and director and trustees on Wednesday, June 10th at 1 p.m. for a tour of the library to go over their needs and maintenance. And we'll begin a review and start going through all of the town facilities and reviewing them. And last but not least, unless I missed something, is the budget committee not meeting again till September 10th? Yeah,
That is
thank
correct.
goodness. And then we start the budget season. So the next budget committee meeting, which I will be the select board rep to, will meet again on Thursday, September 10th at 7 p.m. Stay tuned. That's it.
For the library, don't they usually have like a 1 or 2 week break in the middle of the summer sometimes?
Yes,
Yes.
I think it's the first 2 weeks of August.
Are they pushing to get their paving and lighting
Yes.
done in that window?
Yes. We have to coordinate. We were hoping that we were going to be able to fill the highway department position so that that could come to fruition with us doing most of the work. I think that is targeted on their schedule.
That's great news. And actually I meant to say we had to schedule it for their convenience because they were so busy. And I forgot on Wednesdays, or you won't be here, but if Steve Black is interested and able, it'd probably be helpful for him to come too.
I'll probably be here too because we have elections planning committee
Oh, okay, great,
meeting in the morning.
great.
That's this week, right?
Yes, because I know we all want to know how that'll be one of their big questions, so, great, that's great.
All right, town administrator report.
Previously discussed, we had selected June 1st to do the public hearing on the discretionary preservation barn easement from Acrylis. I went to go do the noticing to the union leader, I think midweek after that meeting, and as I dug into it a little bit further, it required more than the typical 1 week public hearing time. So in order to get it in the newspaper within the required time frame, I had to postpone it until June 15th. So that has been postponed to your next meeting on Monday, June 15th. And the noticing has been posted on the website. I believe it's already been it's going in the Union Leader tomorrow. And it's at all the physical posting places. The first half 2026 property tax bills were mailed late last week. Payments for those are due by July 1st. And you had already touched on the disc golf course construction being underway. The Parks and Rec staff are just asking that anybody that is typically using the trails on a regular basis maybe refrain from doing so this week, just while they are working on getting the setup completed, and there's construction equipment out there. Town clerk Alana Kenny is seeking a deputy town clerk. Applicants must be Nottingham residents. The position's been posted on the town website, and it's also been shared on the Parks and Rec social media page to get the word out there. Anyone interested in learning more is encouraged to contact Alana directly, and her email address and phone number are right on the town's website. With that being said, I know Charlotte had just touched on looking for maybe a volunteer member for the Facilities Assessment and Advisory Committee. I also reached out to the CIP membership. There's a board representative from the Planning Board, the Budget Committee, the Select Board, and then usually there's a few community members. The last one from last year's committee was Jean Reed, who is moved out of town effective today. So I am looking for any volunteers from the community that might be interested in serving on that. So it's the town's Capital Improvement Plan Committee. They have created a scope for 10 years worth of capital asset replacement, and it would be an asset that has a lifespan of 5 years or more and has a value of $10,000 or more. So this is critical in our budget and forecasting, equipment replacement. So if anybody has an interest in that, the committee typically meets around, they usually do startup meetings around this time of year, and we'll meet pretty much through the beginning portion of the budget season. I would say probably September, October, and then they wrap up their recommendations for funding approval for anything that's targeted in the next budget year. So again, if anybody is interested in serving on that committee, if you could just reach out to me, my contacts through the town website, that would be great. And then we'll be doing a kickoff meeting here pretty soon as I can assemble everybody's schedule and get something to work. Supervisors of the checklist will be holding a session tomorrow, Tuesday, June 2nd, from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. in the town clerk's office. At this time, residents may register to vote, make corrections to their voter registration information, or change their political party affiliation. And this is the final opportunity to change that party affiliation before the state election on September 8th. This has been advertised as required by statute. It's been in the Union Leader, I think, twice, and then it's been posted on the town's website for quite a while now. And then we had already touched on the waste oil collection tank, the recycling center. So having to drain that tank and put it into their alternate storage holding, they're unable to accept additional waste oil at this time until we can either maybe get like another 275 gallon, maybe 2 tanks, or at least have the other ones checked and see if there's anything that can be done to repair them so they're not leaking. I'm sorry.
What are these things?
Recycling center.
Oh, thank you.
It's the waste oil storage.
That's what they were referring to.
And then the only thing that's not on my report that I think about just before we come into this meeting is, I know I've discussed with you individually a few times as we're talking about the library parking lot preparations. We've kind of kicked around the dirt lot, which is a separate lot of record, whether or not that should just be merged into the library's main parcel, which if that is the case and you want to move forward, I will go ahead and submit the lot merger application, which is going to come to you as a board for approval before it goes to the planning board, or as it goes to the planning board. But if you want to start that, we should probably get that process rolling and get on the planning board schedule.
Yep, that way as they continue to work and if they get it's easy for them to ask for lighting or paving when it's their parcel, and that way any improvements we do, it stays with the building. So
Consensus?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, alright,
we can make a motion, I'm fine with that.
we can go through that when you fill out.
When we do that, okay.
And then as far as your general correspondence, I did not list them all out because I did forward a statistical breakdown from Tracy Stickney, our land use coordinator, but we received an abundance of emails, written correspondence, phone calls, everything just about. I don't know that there was anything in support of. I believe the gross bulk of it was in opposition to the proposed data center at 145 Old Turnpike Road. There were a few key highlights that I did pull out of that general correspondence, and one of them was Jim Hadley from Northwood. He provided you with the hydrology study that was completed back in 2004 regarding the groundwater withdrawal at the former USA Springs. And he just wanted to make sure that you had that information to review, because some of you might not have been familiar with the time and research that was spent during that. But obviously, this is a different scope. I'm not going to speak to how much water could be consumed by a data center, but you know, that was one piece, and that would be a whole second piece. And then Chris Balch, who is a former New Hampshire state representative, he had actually drafted an appeal that went out in a mailer to, I think, most Nottingham residents. I'm not sure what the scope was, but we received multiple copies of it that pretty much listed out contacts for local, state, and federal level to write in opposition to data centers being located here in Nottingham. So outside of that, I apologize that I'm not able to identify everybody, but we did hear your concerns, and those are on file in the planning board office for anybody that would like to review them. And I think you've been copied off on most of them. Well, not just the ones that you were copied on. And then we also received a letter from New Hampshire DES dated May 21st, and it was regarding a file from 2023. I believe it was a dredge and fill complaint on Bardary Lane, and that letter was just acknowledging that the property's now in compliance.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
We'll wait till we get down to the other parts. Or do you wanna go now? Jump ahead to assessing, or is she can, Drew's not here yet. Yeah, let's head to assessing then.
I'll make a motion to accept certification of yield taxes assessed on map 32, lot 18, and the warrant for yield tax levy on the same map and lot number.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye. I'll move to accept certification for yield taxes assessed on map 32, lot 22, and warrant for yield tax levy on the same map and lot number.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to accept certification of yield taxes assessed on map 32, lot 23, and warrant for yield tax levy on the same map and lot number.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
I'll make a motion to deny the all veterans tax credit for map 71, lot 107.
I'll second.
And a motion and a second, all in favor on denial? Aye. Okay, assessing is done. Your appointment? Not the appointment,
Oh,
appointment that you recommend here.
for the library trustee.
Request motion, so there's a motion to move to appoint the following individual to position. So we have a vacancy on, for library trustee. We have a motion for Allison Friend Gray to fill a vacancy left by Debbie Ricker.
Is that the motion?
I can't,
Oh, you can't make the motion, all
I
right.
probably can, I just drive the bus.
I'll double that motion, and move to appoint the following individual to the position. Allison Friend Gray as library trustee, filling vacancy left by Debbie Ricker until the next election cycle.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
So we'll go through, do you wanna talk any more about the license for the Purple Hope 5K? This would be the 3rd annual. It's been
Which is-
held a couple of times. It's in memory of a local resident who passed away, and
Pancreatic cancer.
correct.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign the special events license for the Purple Hope 5K run on October 4th, 2026, and to waive the license fee of $50.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll wait on the next.
Wait on the car show, right, to
Yep.
get more info?
And do you think we have 5 minutes to discuss this other part, Ellen? House Bill 1491.
Do we have 5 minutes to talk about? This was risk pool. It has to do with, yes, the small risk pool. This actually came to us from the legislative team of New Hampshire Municipal Association, which we are dues paying member to. They have proposed this resolution in support of House Bill 1491. Technically, you should read the whole resolution because that brings the meat and potatoes to the table
All right,
and what you're resolving.
yeah, so this is a resolution in support of House Bill 1491. Whereas the town of Nottingham is a participating member of a non-assembled municipal risk pool created by political subdivisions to reduce risk and provide stable, cost-effective health insurance coverage for municipalities and other public entities. And whereas risk pools nationally operate under 2 recognized models, assemble and non-assemble,
Accessible.
accessible and non-accessible, thank you. And both models are widely accepted as viable tools for managing municipal risk and controlling costs. And whereas House Bill 1491 establishes a statutory framework allowing non-accessible risk pools to operate under the oversight of the New Hampshire Department of Insurance, creating a pathway for municipalities to continue participating in this model. And whereas the bill introduces Chapter 420-R, which sets forth reasonable and clearly defined standards for governance, financial reporting, solvency, and fiduciary responsibility, promoting transparency and accountability while preserving operational flexibility. And whereas the legislation allows municipalities to retain local decision-making and flexibility by preserving the ability to choose between accessible and non-accessible risk pool structures or to pursue alternative risk management strategies. And whereas maintaining access to non-accessible risk pools supports predictable budgeting, financial stability, and long-term planning for municipalities by providing unexpected assessments and minimizing volatility and insurance costs. And whereas the continued availability of municipal risk pools model strengthens the overall municipal health insurance marketplace in New Hampshire and helps ensure continued access to affordable coverage for local governments and their employees. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Select Board of Nottingham, if we vote so, that the Select Board hereby expresses its support for House Bill 1491 and its establishment of an updated regulatory framework for political subdivision risk management programs, and be it further resolved that the Select Board respectfully urges the Governor to sign House Bill 1491 into law to preserve municipal choice, promote financial stability, and ensure the continued availability of effective risk management options for New Hampshire municipalities. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be transmitted to the office of the Governor, the municipalities, legislative delegation, and appropriate state officials. I will not read that again.
That was Oscar worthy.
What did it say?
You still got 2 minutes.
I know.
Wow, you did good.
So-
In summary, House Bill 1491 establishes the legal framework needed for non-accessible health insurance risk pools to continue operating in New Hampshire. Without its enactment, current and future risk pools would not be able to utilize the non-accessible model. This distinguish has significant financial implications. Under an accessible model, participating members may be subject to additional unplanned assessments to cover losses Just last year, many municipalities experienced this firsthand when two pools were required to issue mid-year multi-million-dollar assessments to their members. Fortunately, we were not part of that. The non-assessable structure helps municipalities avoid the risk and supports more predictable, stable budgeting for employee health benefits. So this has been formulated to help push that through. And
Make a motion to sign resolution in support of House Bill 1491.
I will second that.
All right, I made a motion, she seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. It is now 7:30. We have a special guest with us. We have the Planning Board Chair, Drew Stevens, who would like to continue Wednesday's discussion.
I do.
See you, Drew.
Nice to see you all too. Thanks for letting me have a little bit of time.
And Drew, I just want to say I applaud you. You ran a very well-organized meeting. You cut right to the meat and potatoes of it. That was the fastest 5 minutes of a planning board I have seen before you got to open discussion.
Yeah, I was pleased with how orderly the meeting went, considering the very large turnout.
Right.
So I assume all of you are kind of up to speed on what that was all about. We had a data center proposal, and people came from all over New England to what was going to be the hearing for that, not actually a public hearing, but that proposal was withdrawn the afternoon of the meeting last Wednesday. And so instead, we had general public comment and let all the people who wanted to say their piece, let their voice be heard. So before that meeting, the planning board got over 234 emails and voicemails that were sent to the land use coordinator. Our sign-in sheet that night had 244 names on it, and I expect there are probably in excess of 300 people actually attending. During the public comment session, we had 61 members of the public who spoke. They were limited to 2 minutes each. And it was all across the board. We had recent high school graduates, we had young kids, we had people who've lived in town for decades. There was a lot of concern about data centers being sited, not just in Nottingham, but in New Hampshire and New England in general. Probably the largest public participation at a public or planning board meeting since I wasn't around for the USA Springs debacle, but I imagine it was on the same order. And the feedback that we received during that public comment was unanimously in opposition to any data centers. So it's pretty clear that our citizens here in Nottingham aren't going to accept inaction on the part of the town at this point. There are a lot of suggestions that were voiced during that public comment session. And I've called a special meeting of the planning board in 2 days, this coming Wednesday, so that the planning board can discuss all of that public comment that we received and figure out what our path forward is going to be.
Are you doing that meeting as a workshop, or are you gonna have that open to the public to bring up more?
It's a workshop and it'll be open to the public as well. In case there's anything that hasn't yet been said that people
Well,
want
I'm
to say.
not sure if that's gonna, happen, that's gonna make your meeting less productive if you
No, I
have
think
that many people talking.
The public comment will be reserved for the end, after the boards discuss things, and we're planning to have it in the gym here. And we'll be going over things so the public can, be involved as well, in that not in the discussion, but see what we're talking about. And so I've also seen, in some articles that have been published in In-Depth and H, there was a state rep that said that because the state didn't have a definition of data centers, that there was no local ability to control data centers. But that's false. That's not true at all. We do have the ability to regulate data centers as we see fit for our town. So there were some bills that were working their way through the legislature that recently got tabled. So there's no state level action on data centers at this point in one way or another. So it's up to us to do any regulation that we would like to see happen. So our options from a planning board perspective are to put forward new zoning amendments that will help to regulate that use, Or we also have the option to look at a temporary moratorium under RSA 674-23. Town council is currently reviewing a proposed ordinance that I put together that we're gonna discuss at this Wednesday's meeting. Town council probably won't have weighed in on it until our next planning board meeting, which is a week from Wednesday. But either of those options, zoning amendment or a temporary moratorium, is going to require a special town meeting to be called in order for the legislative body, the people of the town, to vote on any proposals that the planning board ends up recommending and holding a public hearing on. So you all, as a select board, have the power to call a special meeting under RSA 39(1). But it's also the citizens of the town have the option to petition the select board with 50 signatures to kind of force that to happen. So I am essentially here just to make sure we're all on the same page, that if the planning board does put forward either a zoning amendment or a temporary moratorium, that the select board is going to be willing to call a special election to act on that. And that's pretty much where I'm at, just so I can direct the planning board in our efforts.
So the big thing about holding a special meeting is we have to have the correct number of people attend it, or we'd have to put a full election in place, the correct number of days beforehand, et cetera, moving up to it. Hearing this, our next scheduled election is in September.
Correct, September 8th.
September 8th. So instead of costing twice, if we could maybe get everything that you're planning aligned for that, then we would only have to come up with the cost of a sheet.
The thing is, though, we need to modify our moratorium, the paperwork needed, because if they put in an application while we're waiting in September,
Then we're stuck with.
yeah, we have to
2
put it,
years.
I know it's still kind of possible to do a moratorium, from what I've read and researched. You can still do a moratorium with an application in, but I know your moratorium paperwork that you had written up has to be modified, and it's also a lot harder to implement if there's already an application in place. So I think it would behoove us to probably pay a little extra and have the extra vote sooner, because I guess it's a race. We're in a race, kind of.
Potentially, yes. I mean, I think Mr. Moulton heard pretty loud that there wasn't a lot of support for it, and it seemed like we did have some ability in the planning board, either because it would have already required a special variance because of its use is not fully defined. I'm just making sure too, like, I don't want to say we're going to try to, just set a date in the middle of July based on whatever appropriate amount of time, and then we don't quite have all of our ducks in a row or something
Well,
like
you
that.
could, the purpose of the moratorium is to get your ducks in a row. It's a pause. It's not a shutdown. It's
Ducks in a row for
pause.
the data center, but the
Right.
vote has to be done in the correct way, or then it is easily to dismiss it because we didn't hold it correctly. So the state has certain things that we have to do to put that in place as well. We can't just be like, we're gonna have an election in 5 days, like there's,
Well, you have 2 weeks, I believe. You have to have 2 weeks minimum, isn't it?
and we would have to, do the voting machines and everything like that, get on the election officials and stuff like, I mean, it's not like we can,
Oh, we can't do with the cards up there.
don't believe so. It has to be able to
It has to be
post it
like a
in, it's
real
a full election.
Okay.
So
With the supervisor of the checklist, like getting all the things. So I mean, I would love to just run out and say yes, but it is not fully up to me to be able, I mean, I guess it is, but it's weighing in a
Because
lot.
we're SB2.
Yeah.
It's not a traditional town meeting vote anymore.
That's unfortunate.
And
That would have been
so-
too easy.
Exactly.
I know.
That's why I'm just saying,
Everything's complicated.
we can try this, but then it is a process, and I am assuming that if the word got out, it would probably be relatively well attended, and then we're getting into like, where is the space, which a couple of weeks, the school's gonna be empty, so that might actually make that easier. But I would definitely love to continue to talk. I just wanna make sure that we all know everything, hear everything we can. If we don't think that September date works, I'm definitely open to trying to do something, but at the same time, maybe that September date would work. I mean, I think he heard pretty loud and clear, and he was,
I'm nervous to wait until September. I mean,
and that's
I'd
it.
like to
We
discuss
can
first
definitely
and then-
Yeah.
I am only a vote of many, so there's a reason why there's more than me here, so.
So the thing that locks in zoning would be, the submission of a design review that would lock in the current zoning for any application that would come within 12 months after that. On the planning board side, as soon as we legally notice a proposed zoning amendment or moratorium, then the zoning is locked in for us, and anything that comes in after, even if the vote hasn't happened yet, it still has to go by the proposed amendment, should that pass.
Okay,
So there's no rush on the holding a special town meeting side. The rush is more on the planning board side to get any potential amendments legally noticed quickly,
okay.
Good.
so that could preclude anything from slipping in. So I'm not asking for, a special election to happen in 5 days, something like that.
Yep.
And if the September date does work, as long as as long as our proposed zoning changes, whatever they may be, or moratorium, gets legally noticed, then, we're protected, so to speak. But I honestly, I'm not sure timing wise how September works with, if it does work, fine, as long as we get that protection, because I think there is a lot of appetite for getting something in place as soon as possible to protect the town from something like this coming in. And,
I
we
think
can't
we
do
were all
anything about the
surprised.
rest of New England, but we can protect our own little town here. And like I said, if, the September date doesn't work and this board is a little hesitant, the citizens can force your hand by getting 50 signatures on a petition to do that, which I don't think would be a very big
Be a
challenge
problem.
at this point.
Liar's paradise.
So you might want to start thinking about that
Yeah.
if September's not going to work, because I think the citizens are going to want it to happen.
I think if your part works, like if the soonest that you can do stuff and make that happen, if that locks our clock going forward, I think just for, just throwing it onto the checklist too, like we can do stuff, but I would definitely,
Yeah.
we want to make it work.
Yeah, and I don't
And
want
be all correct. I just want it to be correct because,
Questions do we have as far as throwing us an election? I mean, how much money are we talking? I mean, what would slow us down? What
an
would speed
election
us up?
costs $3,000 to $5,000 an election.
I don't think the
I think
people
we-
would really
The
mind paying
last
that.
special election that we had for the state rep, they estimated it was gonna be like 10,000, it wasn't near that, so I think you probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like 3 to 5, depending
Yeah.
on how many people.
Is money really the question, or is there more to it that I'm?
Well, it's just getting everybody to, particularly if it's summer, the election officials and all, I mean, it can be done.
Yeah, we definitely can
you
get
know,
it done. It's just a testing before, and I think that they are in support of it. I'm just saying if we can get it, if we lock in the timeline and we can do it together, then they're gonna be here anyway. But if that's not appeasing to people, then we can try to push it forward earlier.
Find a way or make one.
I just wanted to,
Yeah.
I don't wanna do one thing and then everybody like, oh,
Gee,
where'd
we
all the
didn't
money
really
go?
need to
Our
do
taxes
that,
are going
yeah.
up. I mean, it's $5,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd say it's
I
it's $5,000.
Yeah, it
a
actually
day,
seems
and
like a pretty good safety
Still
investment.
getting used to how slow.
We
you
haven't
are.
gotten the second tally machine yet, so we just wanna put that out there.
It is on order though.
What's the second tally
order?
machine's on order, but I would at least like to have that.
You were traumatized.
Well, shoot, there's only one thing on the
I
article.
mean, there's only
You're
one
not
thing,
passing
yeah,
five,
there's
it's
only
true,
one thing.
it's true, yeah.
I'd really like
Yeah.
to see us push through faster, just to get it from protection. The moratorium is to protect us.
Yep.
And if we get caught dropping the ball
Yeah.
on this one,
I just need to,
It's
if
up
we
to the
get
planning board
feedback.
to get your stuff going, so you can come with us.
So that's part of it too, right? The sooner that we'd be able to pass that moratorium, the sooner the planning board would be
Yes.
able to create a subcommittee to look at specific zoning amendments and
Okay.
performance standards that could put some guardrails in place, right? Because a moratorium at most can be 12 months. And so
Okay.
that buys us some time, but the sooner we can do it in advance of the normal town meeting in March, the sooner we can get that process started to get some of those zoning amendments in place so that we don't have to, that we're not caught doing, a half measure because we couldn't get all of our zoning
Right.
things in order. So
Yeah.
kind of the sooner we do it, the better we can put the time in, to
So
make it
are there
happen.
technically two potential paths? One, you create new zoning and we vote on those, but then that has a 12-month time period, or we create a moratorium and then the moratorium will protect us for a window
12 months.
until we
Well,
vote in March, and then we're kind of covered, because isn't it new zoning ordinances take a year to take effect, or do they take effect immediately?
Immediately, once
Immediately.
it passes,
Okay.
that's it.
And that moratorium, if it, it's written as a 12-month moratorium, even if we pass new, zoning amendments in March, that moratorium would still last 12 months, so it wouldn't be until after that, unless during the town meeting, we, put it to the voters to rescind the moratorium, but I don't think that would make much sense. So yeah, our other option aside from a moratorium is trying to get some type of zoning amendment pushed through as soon as possible. And that's, we haven't had much
Yeah.
time to think about this. And it would essentially just trying to be tightening up the special exception part of the commercial and industrial district. We'd have to both define data center and then make it so that it was not a permitted use, so that it would need a full variance instead of just a special exception that has a bit of a lower bar.
And even if we accept, we
Granted.
need performance standards. We have no performance standards, noise.
We don't.
Yeah.
We have no noise ordinance whatsoever in town. And that's a thing that needs a little bit of nuance as well, because we don't want to overly restrict people, but we want to make sure that we've got something in place to protect ourselves from the constant humming drone of a, large data center.
No, moratorium, that doesn't require as many hearings, I believe, as a zoning one that requires like a couple of pre-hearings, right? There's public hearings that need to take place
There would be
beforehand.
one public hearing that
Just
would be
one.
required, and as soon as that public hearing for the potential moratorium is legally noticed, we're
Great.
protected.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's already drafted up the moratorium,
It's with town council right now.
so we're ready to go on the planning board's end.
Now, Ellen, correct me if I'm wrong, and you said at the very beginning, wasn't there a part about town council said about we can't specifically regulate data center, but we can specifically regulate certain parts of an industrial facility in terms of noise, water consumption, but I don't think we can regulate so I would,
I spoke
I'm
with
not-
town council about that,
Yeah.
and we can. The data centers aren't a special case.
Bill
We
didn't
can.
pass.
I understand the
So,
building,
yeah.
there's no
Take
thing,
hold.
like, it's like creating a new, we're regulating something, and then if the state comes up and regulates something, but we have something.
Well, then the state would supersede, but they haven't done that at this point.
Correct.
They tabled their,
So I was
proposed
just thinking your
legislation.
zoning, you wanna, instead of hard focusing on data, focus on the parts of it,
We haven't
Water
defined what a data center is in our ordinance yet.
I
Right.
don't think you want to. I think you want to define water draw, noise.
Well, we'd want to do all of that in addition to probably defining data center and
Okay.
making it a non-permitted use in the
These-
commercial industrial
right, the big-
district.
The problem that we're having is it has to be defined use, because we found recently with the chicken thing, if it's not defined, it opens us up.
And so last year, same place for the data center had to go through a special exception to authorize manufacturing and warehousing, because that wasn't listed in our commercial and industrial permitted uses. And anything with our permissive zoning, if it's not listed there, then it has to go through a special exception. But if it's listed as non-permitted use, then it needs a full variance, and we have the right and ability to do that if we so choose.
Okay. Thank you for bringing me up to speed. I know there's like nuances or hearing different
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
to
it
him.
is nuanced, yeah, yeah.
No.
Good, thank you. Yeah, I guess sooner.
Yeah.
Hey, marshal the forces, I feel like everybody would be on board, and even though it's an extra expense, it would be,
I think it's an extra expense
Good
that's,
protection,
that's well worth the money. Well worth the money.
No, I was just making sure if all the other
Right.
meetings and
Right,
time,
right.
places, and if like somebody went and let's say a certain meeting had to be held, but somebody delayed a meeting and then we don't meet our certain time, I would hate to,
schedule one for August 30th and then have another September 8th or something, right? Yeah,
I think
yeah,
while
yeah.
the
No,
topic's hot, I think
no, it's a
we're
good point.
gonna have, I think it would behoove people to show up for the vote, to vote and also to run the vote.
Yeah, I mean, I think there would
Yeah.
be enough people
I
that
think-
are passionate about it. that
Yeah, I
you
think
get what you
everybody
are
feels
looking for.
strongly, yeah.
Now's the time to move, cause everyone's hot on the topic.
Ellen, do you have any comments or thoughts or anything we need to be aware of? I don't wanna move anything on and be like, oh, by the way, is there anything like that?
I don't have any until after we determine the path forward with the planning board, however that Wednesday goes.
Okay,
We'll just plan accordingly.
Okay, great, thank you.
we are listening and we will support. I'm just saying, so I'm not, I don't have one key way, one way or the other. I was just asking, I just wanna make sure, like, if certain things
Yeah.
happen.
Just wanted to get us all on the same page.
Yep.
Sounds like we are, and that, yeah, we understand what.
I
we
think
must
it
do.
was last meeting, somebody was like, oh, something about a data center, and then it was like a week later was an explosion.
Well,
It's been a busy couple of weeks.
Yeah, it definitely exploded. I went away and I came back into cell service and my phone was just like, bzz, bzz, bzz. I couldn't even do anything with it, I just had to let it sit there until it caught up, so. I'm sorry, did you have a comment, ma'am?
Yeah, something.
Sure. We don't really generally,
She's on our support anyways.
yeah, she's our 7:45.
So, are you gonna dismiss him and go there?
Yeah,
Or are you-
I actually wanna comment on this if I could.
Sure,
As Charlene
you're in your window anyway, so.
mentioned, one of the considerations during a moratorium is also to do a study on the impact. So I think that should come into the conversation too, where we would hire an outside third-party independent company to study what would be the impact of a data center to the town during that moratorium. Any ordinances that gets created can go to the ZBA to get variances. So just because we create the ordinance doesn't necessarily mean that that stops a process or that stops a situation. It just creates a little bit of a barrier. But I would recommend that the planning board and the select board also consider a study by a third party person. A study.
They're expensive, but it could be worthwhile in this instance.
I mean, we say expensive, but at the same point, we're talking about like how expensive it is if we lose our groundwater or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like I think the costs are,
Yes, I mean, it's the only way we're gonna get the noise the noise levels and
Yeah.
we're gonna get all that baseline.
excellent, Drew. Is there anything else you have for us tonight?
Nope, that's it.
All right, we do have a 7:45 that we are 5 minutes late for. We will have a public comment section for people that wanna talk a little bit.
Thank you,
You'd like
Drew, see you Wednesday.
Come up.
Thank you.
If you will, just say your name and address.
Charlene Anderson, Garland Road. I think you had all received the email that I sent. The purpose that I'm here to meet with you folks today is to request that you consider a policy on non-disclosure agreements. That reason being is because NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, are being used more frequently by developers with municipalities across the nation. And what happens when an NDA is signed with either a planning board or a select board or any town employee is it really reduces the amount of openness and transparency that a community has. So it really shuts the people out of the conversation, a lot of unknowns that can't be shared. So what I did, because I have sat in your seats before, and to try and help out, I did draft up a potential policy for you to consider. This is modeled after a policy that was created in Superior, Wisconsin, by that city. I just want to add too that these policies are being enacted across the nation. Some at the state level are also taking action into eliminating NDAs by municipalities. So, I've created the language based off of that. I customized it to a certain extent to fit the town of Nottingham. And, you know, I certainly would expect you to take it to an attorney, the town attorney, to review, make sure that everything is kosher. There is, I think this does, you know, require, you know, employees, any elected or appointed officials not be able to enter into a non-disclosure agreement. However, there are some situations when it comes to private information that it may be, you know, required, whatever that may be. I think I put in as an example, social security numbers and stuff like that, personal medical information, welfare situations that may not be. And then I also put in there that if there were an NDA signed, that it would have to be publicly noted at a select board meeting, that the select board would have the final decision. Again, not knowing what the legality of this is or isn't, and certainly would want to have an attorney review it, but that's what I would like to propose. It offers another layer. We have 91A, but this offers another layer of security to make sure that, you know, the town is acting really open, really transparent, and not shutting out the people of the town, or not shutting you folks or any elected official from not being able to discuss a proposal that might be before them.
Like I look at your, and I do thank you very much for bringing this here. I always ask the what ifs, make sure we get them out there. Like your first bullet of an exception would be protection of property or confidential business information. And I feel like that's such an easy loophole for somebody to come in with some sort of lawyer that we're gonna be like, look, I'm not gonna try to fight you every single time you come in. We're gonna be like, you know, our data center uses a special type of cooling medium that we can't talk about. We need you to sign it or something. I just worry, I mean, we will definitely forward it off to legal for
Yeah.
review.
I agree with that, because that is an iffy, that is, could be considered a loophole, and that again is why I think an attorney could like clear it up. And, you know, obviously, these NDAs, policies and stuff haven't been, you know, tested in the court of law, at least that I know of, because they're happening really soon, they're happening really fast. Across towns and at the state level, so they haven't been something that's been tested at this kind of a level. So, but I agree, there is some kind of things that are a little wonky with it that I think could probably be, you know, an attorney could like, yeah, we don't want that, you know.
No, I mean, I think we'll definitely forward it off and get what their thought is, what the state's moving towards, or what other municipalities are moving towards. I mean, anything that can give us or protect us in any way, I think is appropriate.
Again, it's another layer of protection, and I learned in the lessons of USA Springs, create the layers. That's what slows people down. All right, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Shirley.
Thank you.
We're holding off on that. Nope. All right, so that's 6:15 meetings. So we're gonna review action items from prior meetings. We have, well, we might as well. Mindle Road, we have yet to receive.
Yeah, between the data center and still working kind of behind the scenes on the town beach, that's a little bit further on the priority list, but
Yeah.
it is still there.
Still there, and we'll just kind of keep grading. All right, Town Beach. We currently have communications between the landowners and the town attorney and ourselves are continuing. We're reviewing some information in the backgrounds. There is no agreement in place. The town beach is still not open. There's still a lot of work to be done. So I don't have much else officially to say on that, except for the town beach is still not open. We don't have any other policy review or updates.
deal with the rental?
No,
of-
that's on the agenda for next month, next meeting. The municipal rental
Yeah,
policy.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
So action items for the next meeting. The elections recap and planning, which may have more planning, because we will have heard the emergency or emergent planning board meeting will have happened this week, and then they'll have their additional 1 week meeting. Then we will have had our meeting. And we have an elections kind of recap that's happening Wednesday morning, that we'll be going to. There'll be the public hearing for the application of for discretionary preservation barn easement. And that is for the property on the corner of Smoke and Macrillis and Mill Pond and it's right there at the corner, everywhere. All right, at this time, we'll open it up for public comment. I'll allow people to come up and you get your 3 minutes, give or take. Come on up.
So I'm Steve Waldo, I live on South Summer Street. I think it's great that people are reacting to this whole data center issue. You know, it's great to see the planning board working with the select board, and I haven't been involved in town politics. I've lived here a long time. I was here for the USA Springs thing, and the one thing I've been thinking about a lot is, I think Charlene had made the point about how that was a layered defense. And just in the last few days, I've been doing a lot of reading about how some of these data center operators will literally get around regulations by putting generators on trucks and leaving them on trucks. So they don't fall under certain rules, and they're running them when they're not supposed to be running them. They're not using them as backups. They're using them as full-time power plants. Some of these things run off grid so they can get around certain rules. And I know that's not really the purpose of this meeting, but really it's about the fact that we should be thinking about, you know, how we create that onion of defense, you know, with those multiple layers, and think about this in terms of sound. Think about it in terms of the way they're powering this thing, you know, the way they're cooling it. I know they're also using, I know about the NDAs that they've been using. They've been claiming it's national security. So there's all these types of things that are kind of gonna come up, and I'm sure everybody here has probably learned quite a bit about this in the last week, but because it sort of came home, but probably more appropriate for when Drew was up here, but I just think we're gonna have to fight this, or be prepared to fight this in multiple ways, and build that sort of layered defense.
I definitely encourage you to show up on Wednesday to that.
I do plan to.
Yeah,
I do plan to, yeah. Because there's a lot of ways to do this, and you know, they're gonna have an army of people that if they're gonna spend billions on a data center, they're gonna have the people with the know-how, so we're gonna have to be clever. But anyway, thank you. I know it's probably not really much for action for you guys, but I do plan on going Wednesday.
excellent.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you for taking the time to speak.
See you Wednesday.
Stephen Waldo.
Anybody else like to speak, public comment? Come on up, sir. Name and address.
Bruce Flannery, 29 Deerfield Road. I came just to speak on the town beach, and I heard what you had to say on the town beach. We've been residents of 14 years this year, and the town beach has been one of the reasons actually we bought into this place, because we're only up the street from the entrance. And we've used it every year, and used it on a regular basis, especially for the last 5 or so years, because I got this 7-year-old grandson. And I just wanted to make sure, having had a lot of experience, probably last summer averaged 3 days a week down there, typically in the afternoons, typically with my grandson and her grandchildren and others in the group. And number one, because we had, I know we call it a beach attendant, but it was really the gal that was there, the young woman that was there last summer, she did a great job. She did more the parking lot attendant, and my experience, or our experience with that is that we didn't realize how many people stopped showing up that typically had been showing up for all these years. And it became a very family-friendly beach, I'll just put it that way. There was, along with families, grandparents, parents, kids, There was also the regulars and the unregulars, but there was regulars that came down to take a swim for their exercise or to go do their cool off. There was quite a bit of activity, but it was just very nice that it was because the parking lot attendant, and I think the word got out, and it was pretty, for the most part, I would say it was a really nice atmosphere down there. So I just wanted to make sure that that was said. I understand you guys are trying to work with the landlords, the landowners. But if there's anything we can do to get it open again this year, and then I'm not sure, I know that there was a warrant article put out last year, earlier this year, sorry, to do that. But I understand if my memory is right, the town council advised us not to sign that or not to agree to that because it wasn't well written or there was a problem with the warrant article.
No, it did appear on the ballot.
It was on the ballot,
Yeah.
but it was recommended not to sign, not to vote for it.
Correct, so we can't, and again, to get into that, it would have
That's
been,
okay.
it would have required monies to be basically spent, even though it said non-taxable, it would have wanted, so like the budget committee and us could not really recommend the article to try to just grab monies, like the way that it was saying to grab monies, like
It just wasn't
there were monies that
legal.
couldn't be used for the purpose that they were trying, like you
Right.
can't just say, take money from somewhere but don't make it taxable, and it's like, that doesn't even make sense, so.
Okay. Understood. I guess what I'm trying to say is if there's some way to get it open again, and I understand you're working on it, if there's anything that can be do to get it open this year, and then if there's some way, I'd be more than happy, I'm not sure what help I could be, but if there's some way to try to get a warrant article to get this straightened out. I mean, I know there's just a lot of history. I mean, I remember what used to be on the website for the town talking about, I think from the 1960s and all that stuff. So I mean, I think it's a very valuable asset to the town. I know
agree.
some people talk about it and say it doesn't get used that much, but I think I will say that my own experience is that it was a much friendlier place, a much happier place, a much more family friendly place this last summer than the prior 12 summers. So anyway, I just wanted to get that across.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you for your time, thanks. Yeah. You're itching, come on.
I'm so excited somebody else asked about it instead of me. Robin Marshall, 189 Old Turnpike Road. Do you just, I know we had a June 1st date, do we have any sort of date that I can tell people? No,
You will see the announcements if we're allowed to make an announcement. I mean, it is closed. I don't have access is really what it is. So I mean, if you're a town person, you can find your way to the beach by water, but you're not supposed to bring a boat there. So I mean,
Swim?
well, they say it's closed if it's closed, so.
and we say that, but somebody pulled up in front of the closed gate last weekend and went around the fence and walked down the road with their strollers and their kids. So
Was it not posted? I asked for it to be posted on Nixel. Some people didn't do that, but that wasn't an emergency thing for Nixel.
but
I know it's hard.
there's a gate that's closed.
You just post on the website, it's a red alert.
Yeah,
It's a huge
but I'm
sign.
just saying, if the
They went
gate's
out to
closed
the
and then people
subscribers.
walked right around the gate, this is the problem we have. It's just like,
Cause they're used to being open on Memorial Day, so I can see where that
the
happened.
gate's closed.
It's not the town's property. It's private
The
property.
gate's closed. If I walked up,
It's just
I see a gate
frustrating.
closed, I'd be like, this
I
seems
can see that.
inconvenient.
Like,
Not discussing who it was,
okay.
but they were new residents to the town. They just didn't care about the sign.
I know, it's just frustrating.
I know.
It is.
And it is still a topic that we're gonna talk about, and we still do work as much as we can, so it is just, it's complicated.
Can you lift the no motorized boat rule so that people that can paddleboard or kayak or canoe over to it can at least use it by not stepping on the parental's property? I mean, it's town property.
I mean, I guess boat around the launch off at the state and paddle around.
Yeah,
people
might
that live
serve.
on, yeah.
My only
Well, it
concern
won't
is
help
that
Robin,
we've,
though.
we've published it as a non-boating access up to this point, strictly to keep it swimming.
It's a nothing now, though.
Yeah, I know. It is something that we can probably, we're kind of like in the public comment section, so we can probably discuss to see if there's something we can maybe discuss later on, if we don't have a viable path forward for next meeting.
We're actively working on it.
Just like at least the June first was like, okay, we need by June first.
Yep,
So we're hoping for an update by then, and then we had a data center that got thrown in the mix.
I know.
yep.
I try to.
And really crummy weather, thank goodness, in a
Yeah.
way, you
You
know?
always say to Grace, I say to my kids, that water's cold
Yeah,
and rainy and crappy, but.
With that, we do have non-public we need to get to tonight. Did I miss anything else on this agenda?
No.
All right, is there any other public comment that anybody would like to have before we end this evening?
Yeah, just one more thing. It's really nice to hear someone else besides me say that it's been great and peaceful. Because other people will say, oh, people are dying or whatever. It feels nice to actually hear. This is not really crazy.
And with that, we thank you, Nottingham. We'll be moving into non-public.
Both sides, right?
After non-public, we'll come back and we will adjourn our meeting with no further business being discussed. So have a good evening and we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you again. I get a motion for non-public.
I moved it.
You've been waiting.
All right, I'll do it. I'd like to make a motion to move to non-public. What did I say? RSA 91A, semicolon 3(2), A, B, and L.
Look at you. I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
I, Adam Ryan.
Hi, John Moore.
I'm Matt Sherlin.
I, Charlotte Fife.
Thank you, Nottingham, and have a great week.